Proud of our team, really proud of our players and coaches. I mean, they deserve all the credit. Certainly a total team win, man. Total team win from top to bottom. Really appreciate our fans. They showed up strong. That's why we took some time after the game to go over and thank them and greet them. But their energy was real. Our guys felt it, and they stayed there the entire time, so it was good to see them after. But, you know, as it relates to the game, I mean, I think it's important to note that this game was won in January through spring practice, again in the summer workouts, again in spring practice, summer workouts, fall camp, and then game week. I think our guys, their practice and preparation became game reality. Did all the things necessary to start the season the right way against a very talented team. I think culture showed up strong in a couple different ways. I mean, we responded very well to any kind of adversity. I mean, we turned the ball over deep in our territory, and our defense goes out there and holds them to a touchdown, or to a field goal. But then they score a touchdown on a busted play, and our offense comes right out, scores a touchdown, ends the half, and then comes out in the second half and scores another touchdown. So tremendous response. Really proud of the fact that we had 0 pre-snap penalties and 0 post-snap penalties. I think that's also a strong sign of culture developing and getting better, discipline improving and getting better. I mean, handling the environment the way our guys did made the noise a non-factor. And also showed a lot of self-control and, you know, moments where, you know, usually we haven't in the past. So a lot of growth and development there. And then also thinking physicality and effort and toughness. I mean, at the end of the day, they didn't affect our quarterback as much as we affected theirs. We had several yards after contact, some of those muddy, bloody yards that you get, you know, going through arm tackles. So I think we handled and controlled the line of scrimmage well against a really physical and big front. And again, affecting the QB and keeping ours clean was a big factor in the game. We made some big plays. We also, you know, we dropped a couple touchdown passes that could have helped us also in the game. We made some mental mistakes, and special teams wasn't up to par, so a lot of things to clean up. But all in all, a strong performance. Hard work went into that. A lot of, name it, talent acquisition, player development, and personnel use went into that. So good start to the season, and then moving on. So questions, please.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about Cam McCormick. Obviously, all he's been through, and for him to be able to start the season off with a touchdown first game for you guys. How special was that, and were you able to share a moment with him?
I don't think anybody expected that, right? I mean, that was the winning ticket in Las Vegas for somebody, that Cam was going to score the first touchdown for the Miami Hurricanes this year. You know what he's been through. Maybe one day it'd be good if you take some time and do maybe you have a story on what he's actually been through physically and some of the surgical procedures he has had to be able to be where he's at. He's 100% healthy. I mean, like, better than ever. But to get here, he's been through a lot. So a completely unselfish, hard-working, real-deal human being who shows up every day and brings it. So awesome to, you know, at his age, you know, getting hit over and toppling over backwards. I was a little worried about him, but no, the guy is awesome, and glad he started off the season that way.
I know all the kids matter to understand when he's 26 or whatever, he's not a kid, but just because of the relationship you've had and the length of that relationship with him, how rewarding is it for you to see him just still, first of all, not just producing and performing and contributing, well, you know, just being happy out there.
I don't smile often. It brings a smile to your face. I mean, how would imagine your own son going through all that stuff like he did. So, but again, to go through it and complain as opposed to go through it and do what he does, bring it every single day and make people around him better. That guy's going to be successful in everything he does in life. I think he'll be a great NFL player as well. He's just got the super bright future and is a great mentor, an absolute awesome mentor to young players.
The idea of handling success, how does a program do that? How do you keep a program on edge?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. I mean, you stay mad. You should be very driven and hungry, and you should be pissed. You should be mad. You know, it's not our best football, and you know, no offense to media, but I'm sure the media had, you know, one article written in our favor and had another article ready to hit send and bash Miami and our people and our players, you know. So they don't, you know, they're so, I would say, focused on winning. They're so about just having enough of years of Miami not reaching its supposed potential that it's not hard to point out the things that have caused issues in the past in Miami and to bring to light the things that must be done to avoid any setbacks. So handling success is going to be as simple as realizing the truth. We're nowhere near as good as we could be. We left a lot of plays out on the table on Saturday. We're super excited about the progress that has been made and some things that were done, but we've had enough experiences going the other way, knowing that this is the best time to be our best.
Mario, the last time you were there as head coach of FIU, obviously it was a different set of circumstances. How did it feel to return to Florida, your alma mater, and be able to win as decisively as you did? Because this was an excellent football game. I understand when you have to bring a team like FIU, they're trying to build their athletic department. This was unbelievable, what we saw Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it points to the importance of personnel in college football. I mean, you're right. Someone brought that up the other day. You must have talked to a friend of mine. We went up there in, was it 09 or something like that? And it's Tim Tebow at quarterback, and it's, I remember because I think Aaron Hernandez had a touchdown. He punted the ball to the crowd, and, we're trying to get the ball to T.Y. Hilton, and you got guys, intercepting the ball with one hand, running it back for a touchdown. And I remember their coach actually telling me just stick to the plan, hard work, good people, putting effort, works out. So to be able to go back and play because they have a really talented team. They have a lot of talent. I mean, they I think almost 20, Senior Bowl invite candidates on their team, very big, long, athletic guys, and they have the environment in their favor. So to go up there with our guys, and we feel that our roster has certainly become a lot more talented and has worked really hard and prepared well to go up there and be able to have that type of success and a result is really, it's rewarding and encouraging more than anything. It whets your appetite for better things to come in the future.
Two of the coordinators being back, what did you see just in terms of the job they did and the continuity? Because like you said, it was a clean game in game one despite a bunch of new players.
Yeah.
Just the job they did, having the guys ready to go.
We were a little bit messy. I mean, we had some substitution errors that we got to clean up. But back to the main point that you mentioned, as big as you can possibly get, having continuity at the coordinator spots, especially when both made such big jumps in year one. Because year one, yeah, of course, you evolve throughout the course of the year and you grow and develop some as a system and as a staff. But when you have an entire off season and you enhance personnel and those guys get to go to work and really evolve their systems and grow and learn and travel around the country and network and study opponents, that's a massive difference to have year two coordinators in place, especially of the caliber of both Lance Guidry and Shannon Dawson. Those guys are elite human beings and elite play callers and coordinators. So very blessed to have both of them, and they did a great job.
There's a video that's circulating. Gentleman in Alabama had the term rat poison. Do you address what's coming? I mean,
Absolutely.
Want to beat Florida, and oh my gosh, you're unbelievable now. And do you have to tell this team?
Absolutely. And you go right at it. You don't sugarcoat it. The best part about this team, you can look them right in the eye and give it to them, like right between the teeth, man. No holding back. And they appreciate that. I mean, what better in this world and what is a bigger sign, or what can be a bigger sign of respect than confronting and telling someone the truth, right? And giving them an opportunity to see things for what they are, and then, providing a path, some clarity on what it needs to look like to be successful. These guys get it, they're very, very driven. They understand that the most important thing that we're doing right now is finishing up treatment, and finishing up tutoring and whatnot, and having a great practice tomorrow, and if for us, that's where we're staying along that. And throughout the game, it was that also, Tim. It was making sure we're just the next play, just keep playing. Turnover, just keep playing. Up by 7, just keep playing. Up by 21, just keep playing. If we do that, we'll keep getting better and better.
Mario, there's a video of you in crushing the Gator Chomp and also the fans, shouting your name. Obviously, you said that it's about the program itself, but how special is it to have a moment like that with the fans and with the community that supports you and supports this football program?
I don't remember much of any of that stuff. I'm happy for our fans. I think, I mean, Miami has gotten off to a good start this season. We're 1-0, and Miami has been through a lot over the course of 20 years, and it's the major reason why, when I was granted the blessing of the opportunity, was the number one, and there wasn't really a second reason of why choosing to come to Miami. That was always the most important thing. I think cameras are a little bit too intrusive. You know, I think the football world has been deprived of, you know, moments where you have to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, there's always a camera in a locker room. There's this. It's like, man, come on, you know, get out. Like, this is not you. You know, I'm just saying in general. You know, I mean, it's, you know, we do a lot. We sacrifice a lot. We work to a level of, man, physicality and effort that most people can't fathom. And sometimes, you know, media gets in there and makes more of things than what it is. But I hope what was captured was the utter just gratitude and emotion of our players and our fans being together in a setting like that, because, you know, they had enough. They had read enough of, hey, Miami has no chance. It's a tough place on the road. You're playing against the SEC, and we respect every bit and all that. But, you know, they went there on a mission to handle business, and they did.
Mario, Xavier Restrepo is climbing up on the career list for both reception and receiving yards in UM history. Just now that you're in year 3 of him, just the strides that you've seen him make both on the field and what he means in the locker room as well.
He was always really, really good. Right now, he's really gone to a different level as a leader, as a human being, as a teammate. He's doing things in practice that are just completely unselfish, go out of your way to help someone else be better, to impact someone in a positive way. With all those incredible catches and routes and moves that he made on Saturday, one of his best plays was him when, you know, we had that speed play to Arroyo, when him and Jacoby, you know, it's kind of funny, the little guy's blocking for the big guy. Should be the other way around. But the way he ran out there and threw his body around to create an extra 10, 12 yards for his teammate. I cannot say enough great things about, you know, X. And there's another guy, he just, you watch him, you know, I guess you guys don't see practice, but the way he practices is the way he approaches everything he does in his life. He's just he's got no governor. He's full speed. He's fixing to have an incredible year.
You mentioned that way the tight end production across the board on Saturday.
You know, well,
A long time. How nice was that?
you know, we want to do it last year, man. You know, it's kind of to the question that you had mentioned about coordinators in year 1 and putting it all together. You know, it's kind of a, how would you say, as all these things come together. I mean, we have a strong tight end background here at Miami and the place that we had been in before, and Coach Dawson has had just a really strong background in just about everything. And when all that comes together, and, you know, he's a coordinator and play caller, and he put some unbelievable plans together with the rest of the staff. It was highlighted, you know, right after the season. It's like, hey, we have really good players. They have to be involved. They're going to help us win games. They do present, you know, mismatch issues for opponents, and I think that was on display on Saturday. And the best is yet to come for those guys. Those guys are awesome to be around.
In the same vein, like you mentioned about Cam, I think he missed a lot of time with injuries. Elijah Arroyo missed the better part of 2 years with injuries. To have him have such a big game, in his first game fully healthy again, just what did that mean to him and to the guys around him?
If all those that have watched him practice knew that it was going to happen for him. He is that talented. He is that hard of a worker, and as from a performance standpoint, he's done it day in and day out. I mean, he's kind of a freakazoid in terms of his specs, his speed, his explosiveness, his power, and he's become a really, really good blocker as well at the line of scrimmage and on the perimeter. So he's a really good weapon, and you saw how, you know, he got moved around a bunch of different spots. We're going to continue to do that.
Mario, after the game, you said, you know, how you're going to see this team handle the first win of success.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys preparing for with FAMU, the home opener? Also, players saying, you know, pack the rock, getting everybody out there for FAMU.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing was making sure we took care of business in practice today. You know, everybody early. I mean, the first thing you want to look for is anyone not going to get here early, because for us, early is on time. Is anyone not going to be taped? Is anyone not going to be wearing the right gear? Because that's always a sign, right, of just having just an arrogance for not doing things the right way. And that's not the case with this group. This group was here early, ready to work, and they got after it and had a great practice. And they're excited to come back home and play at home. We want to make Hard Rock an intimidating place to play. We want to make Hard Rock a true home field advantage. We want to make our families, our community, our fan base, we want to make everybody proud, and these guys feel equipped, they feel prepared and ready to do so, and they know that they're playing against a team that's, you know, coming off an awesome season. You know, I believe they have 13 straight wins, you know, defending HBCU national champions, more than a handful of players that have been invited or going to be invited to the Senior Bowl. Defensively, last year they were top 10 in every single category, just about. Offensively, they present a lot of problems. Spread offense, a quarterback with a ton of experience, has played all over the place. Lots of players from South Florida on the team as well. They have a really good football team. And of course, you know, James Coles, he's a guy I have a tremendous amount of respect for, local guy, their head coach now. I know he's not only a first-class coach, he's a first-class human being, and he's going to have his team prepared to play, and we will be prepared to play as well.
Say about Ruben Bain, how's he doing?
You know, obviously, you know, everyone could see he has soft tissue injury. It's going to be a couple of weeks. That's, you know, I'll know more as these tests go on throughout the course of the day and the week, but he will not be playing this game. I can tell you that. The rest of the info regarding that, you know, I don't know if I can honestly say that I'll be transparent about it completely, but I'll do my best.
Mario, do you foresee your backup quarterbacks in this game or two getting a little bit of playing time, you know, in the event that the situation presents itself?
We're trying to get everybody meaningful snaps, you know. We like it so that if you play, it's earned. I think that's really important. I think sometimes people start talking about like playing somebody else. We got to play our first team guys and go win this football game. I think anything other than any statement uttered besides that, any thought other than that, I think is a complete disrespect to football and opponents.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I think we're playing a really good football team. We play one every single week. The guys that are capable of playing and have earned playing time will play when their time comes, but our plan is to put our best 11 on the field every single time we get a chance.
Mario, after getting a chance to, you know, evaluate the film and everything, just what were your thoughts on the offensive line? It seemed like Cam had, you know, half an hour to throw in some place.
Yeah, well, he had a lot of time to throw. You know, the offensive line played an awesome game. They really did. They were physical. They found a way to. I thought the play that was the best indicator of the type of day was that last pass to Elijah Lofton when he was kind of all tied up, and then you saw 5 giant humanoids sprinting into that pile and just, you know, pushing another 6, 7, 8 yards. Those guys have a lot of fun playing together. They're really tight. They have great culture. They were physical. They were physical in the running game as well. And it was going to be a muddy, bloody yard game because of loaded boxes, stacked boxes, odd, tight, bare fronts, right? And they just kept coming and coming and coming, and they provided him with a lot of time. You know, we gave up a sack at the end. There was kind of a covered sack, and Cam stepped up. So, but aside from that, yeah, we felt we did a really good job.
Speaking of the younger guys, 2 standouts from South Florida contribute on both sides of the ball. Jordan Lau, OJ Frederick. Just talk about them, what they've done to earn that playing time, and just how special is it to see, you know, South Florida guys making an impact early. Yeah,
you're talking about OJ and Jordan Lau. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Yeah, those guys, you saw no flinch in them whatsoever, right? I don't know when's the last time a true freshman started in a game of this caliber at either position, but OJ did get the nod, went out there, and he did an unbelievable job. Sky's the limit for him. He's long, he's fast, he's strong, he's smart, he's physical, he is relentless. And Jordan Lau is the exact same thing. You saw that one play where he gets wrapped up and spins out and comes out with balance and gets another couple yards. 2 really talented guys that have been raised the right way. I mean, you want to talk about mentality and what you look for in recruiting. You draw them up just like those 2 guys right there. Strong-minded, hard-working, relentless guys that have zero flinch in them whatsoever. They went in there, it was like, okay. And they played obviously for a great coach and a great program, and like a bunch of our guys here in South Florida, you know, they do a great job with their players, and certainly they have a lot of pride when they take the field wearing that U.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Here's Shannon Dawson. We'll go straight to questions for Coach Dawson.
Coach Dawson, a lot has been always talked about the tight end group and that position. What are your thoughts about the performance and what they did this past weekend?
I thought they were very productive. The ball found almost every one of them multiple times, right? So it's what's been going on at practice every day. So you hope that when you go play the game, the ball gets distributed like it has been in practice. And so to me, that's the key, is from like people, I guess balance is a word that people use, and balance to me is like everybody touching the ball, and so, but, I think that's a testament to Cam, because of the way he views the game. The defense dictates a lot of times where the ball goes, right? And so, he distributes the ball well.
Coach, after 8 months in this group, we know what you have, I guess, but we don't really know until somebody live on the other side
Yeah.
is going against you. What was the one or two things maybe that you learned that you didn't know about that group before?
Well, I think I knew it, but you hope that it shines through in real time, is that they're resilient. They don't let bad things affect them. There's been multiple times, and look, we've put them through some stuff at practice to where we knew the challenge going into that game, and they were ready. We were prepared for it, every facet of the challenge. And you see in practice that, certain things happen and we just go move on to the next play. There's bad things that happen, we move on to the next play. And so you hope that because that is really the key to success, is like just moving on to the next play. And if you let a bad play affect you, then that's when the game starts, rolling on you a little bit, which one of the negatives in the game was the pick, right? But one of the extreme positives in the game after was the fact that the pick did not bother us. We just went over there and we watched it, and everybody talked, made corrections, and our defense went out there, and what a job to hold them to a field goal, right? That was key in the beginning of that game. So very complimentary football by those guys, but we also did not let that affect us. We just went out and kept playing ball, which is what you have to do.
Obviously, you've worked with Cam for 8-9 months now, but to see him and call plays for him in a game, what was that like for you? What was that, the whole experience of his first game like for you? And
it was calming. He's comfortable out there. You can tell. And so, he does a really good job of protecting plays when the play isn't there. And extending the play, and that's the one thing, because at practice, whistles get blown. You don't really get to see the extensions of plays a lot at practice. And so. In the game it's different because you got to get them down, and so he did do a good job of extending plays in certain times, and there was 2 or 3 times where he extended plays right there on the part of the field where it might have took us out of field goal range, but he threw it away twice, and one he threw it to Jacoby in the back of the end zone. And so that ability to just to create some space and let the play develop is crucial in my opinion.
Did it take you to get comfortable with that style? That he will drop back 35 yards if
No, easy. That makes my job easier because I don't have to worry about calling a perfect play or anything. He just, if it isn't there, then he'll keep it alive.
Everyone knew what he was capable of when he got here, but I guess as the play caller, did you need any time to get used to it? This kid just does things a little bit differently.
Yeah, let him play ball, man. Yeah.
Now with the offensive line playing as well as they giving him almost as much time as he needed if he played.
Yeah, I think that's the key part of our offense. Is the fact that there isn't a lot of pressure. There just isn't. And honestly, it was a key part of recruiting him. One of the bigger reasons he's here is because of those guys up front. And so they did a heck of a job. Now they did an unbelievable job in the run game. They're big up front. And we got some bloody yards in the run game, it kept us in phase, as far as just, methodically moving the ball down the field at times. I thought our run game was very productive with what we were going against.
Coach, I want to delve into your quarterback room a little bit. we know what Cam brings to the table. But do you think that he's also doing a good job mentoring the second and third string quarterback, and what are they drawing off of him as the year goes on? We know you have a great quarterback, but you never know when they'll be called upon at some point if needed.
Yeah, and I think it's like, people talk about mentorship, and that's fine. It's a good word to throw around, but it's not like, it's on them too to learn, right? It's not just on him to teach. It's everybody's in the room is watching and listening to the same things. And so I think people are paying attention to the way he goes about business every day and the way he interacts with his teammates and the way he practices and the way he plays. And I think that is rubbing off on them. I don't necessarily put that all on him, though. I put that mostly on them. You got X amount of time to watch a kid that plays at a high level. I would take advantage of it if I was you.
Have you ever installed an offense this diverse in terms of formations and personnel groupings?
It's what we've evolved to over the past probably 8 years, I would say. It just keeps evolving. I think it helps when you have a tight end room that you really don't really care where they line up at. I think that's crucial, because we can be in 12 personnel, 13 or 14, but we might line up in 2x2 or 3x1. They might be the single receiver. They could be the slot. And so to me, having the ability just to call a formation regardless of the personnel and not worry about where people are, because if the ball goes to them, fine, that's great. And I don't really dictate where the ball goes. We have a plan, and you go back and you go through the reads and the ball goes to who it goes to, right? The play that Arroyo called over the middle before the first half, that play could have went to four other people, right? But it went to him. And so you better be ready and have your eyes around. But just calling plays and formations and letting people line up and play ball, Everybody understands that the way that the pass game is set up, it don't matter where you're at. Everybody knows the route tree based on the number they line up at. So.
Education now is kind of a big question mark heading into it. How was your experience first time using it with Cam Ward?
It was good. It cut out way more at practice than it did in the game. I don't think it cut out one time in the game. It cuts out at practice, a lot. And so we were ready for everything when it came to communication. We had a lot of systems set up, because that's the problem. I hear other people not using it because they worry about it cutting out, right? We have some fail safes in place where if it cuts out, we know what to do. He knows where to go with his eyes, but he didn't have to use it. The communication was good. And part of that probably, I told our group going into the game is, I've never heard a crowd really loud when the opposing offense is executing. If you execute, they're probably not going to be too loud. And so we executed pretty early. The first drive, we took it down. So I do think that, that executing helps with that.
And I want to ask you, just what was going through your mind on that touchdown that Jacoby George and he spun out and hit him on the run? Just what were you thinking?
I was thinking, don't get me out of field goal range. And ultimately, I thought that he would probably throw it away, but he extended enough, and, it was a decent throw in the back of the end zone, right?
You mentioned earlier in camp that you felt like there was some meat on the bone year over year for improving in yak. How do you feel like that went on Saturday for you guys?
I think the stat was like 170, right, after contact. Was that right, or 174? That's what I heard.
200.
Yeah. And I think part of that, too, is just really practicing on, we have certain drills that we've done for 20 years that, like, you get up the field fast, right? And I think that's an element of the pass game that people overlook is, like, what happens when you catch the ball, right? A lot of people, like, go lateral and, like, ooze out of it. Like, we focus hard on getting up the field fast. And I think just strain, just being hard to tackle. And then we sell that every day. It's like, look, just be hard to tackle. Don't go down easy. And so, and our running backs are big physical guys, and so, I just think that if you have the mentality of don't go down easy, then defenses struggle.
I wanted to ask one more thing on the radio. The Alabama, Western Kentucky's radio went on a couple of times, so Alabama their coordinator had to come down.
Yeah.
Did you think about, with the radio, did you think about going to the box this season?
No, I didn't, because of the way that we have everything in place. I don't really worry. If it cut out or theirs cut out, we would be perfectly fine. I mean, we can get plays in and communicate. I like, and I've always liked throughout my whole career, of the communication on the sideline, interpersonal communication. I think it's important to look at a guy in his eyes and have a conversation with him face to face. Now, you know, opinions matter, like their opinions matter. So I like to hey, and now with the iPad, it makes it a little different because you actually watch the last drive and last play, good or bad. And so, you know, that's a refreshing deal. You know, the NFL's been using it for years, and now, you know, I'm like, damn, you know, we get the, you know, usually you don't do that till Sunday, you know. And so, but that's a good part of what we're doing right now. But I do like the communication on the sideline. I like seeing the guy, you know, and being able to communicate with him when he comes off the field.
That was a big game, and Jordan Lau took a lot of snaps. Where did he do to gain your trust so fast?
I mean, he's that way every day in practice, to be quite honest with you. He's had a great camp, and there was no doubt in my mind that you know, when you talk about kids playing, especially young kids, it has everything to do with just trust, right? You got to trust that kid is going to go out there and the situation's not going to be too big for him, you know, because for a freshman, that's a big arena. That's a little different feel, right, than probably high school games that they've had. And so they can't be big-eyed. You got to just trust that the calmness will be there. With running backs, and more specifically, you worry about protection. You know, typically they've been handed the ball their whole life. Protection is where, you know, when they come in, you know, our protections are a little more complicated than probably what he's been used to. And we switch protections. Like the center might switch it, Cam might switch it. So all those guys have to be interconnected, and they got to be dialed in. And if you miss one thing, then it's a blind slide, you know. So protection is where, you know, the biggest hurdle comes in a lot of times with a young running back. And he's a very cerebral kid, very calm, very smart, and he picked up on all that very, very quickly. So the trust level in him was very high.
Coach, you know, Xavier and Cam look like a pitcher and catcher out there. So how much better can this tandem get? And let alone the fact that you have a lot of wide receivers that you can go to.
Yeah.
These two here, obviously, it seems like their chemistry began to develop earlier, and now it seems to be carrying over, and you have a full season left to go.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, we're going to keep repping, and hopefully we keep getting better. And that's part of the process, is not letting a little bit of success soften your mentality or differ your approach Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so, and that's what's been stressed here today. You know, I mean, look, we won the game, great, move on. Monday's Monday, right? And so we do have a lot of guys out there that we trust to make plays. And we're rotating more guys this year than we did last year because of that trust. And so, but I will say one thing about Seven is, like, that dude showed up every Saturday since I've been here. You know, he shows up every day at practice. He does the same thing, and he makes plays. And so players respect players. And that dude makes plays, and he makes plays in crucial situations. He makes plays when you need him. He's just there, you know. And so I can't say enough about him and his mentality, but he's a guy that's been extremely steady since I've been here.
Seen just a little bit.
Backing off that particular question is the fact that you have these players that never played together and have bought in and were able to have connections like that on the field on Saturday.
You know, I mean, when Cam got here, and that was, you know, he understands. He's been at a few places. He's played in a few systems. So he understands the level of connections specifically that receivers, skill guys, and quarterbacks have to have. And so those guys spent an enormous amount of time on Greentree, you know, honing that and just developing that. And so that's a testament to them and the work they put in, and they meet together. Like in the summer, they're meeting together. They're in those meeting rooms together. They're out there throwing. It takes a long time to develop that rapport. And so, but when you have the right people and the right leadership, then time is not a problem, you know, because really that's the biggest issue is, like, you got to give your time, right? Nobody wants to give their time. Well, when the goal matters enough to the most important people, you'll give your time.
Of handling success, specifically as it relates to Cam Ward, how have you seen in terms of how he's wired in that way?
Say that one more time.
With Cam Ward handling success.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty even kill guy. You know, I mean, he was the very first guy, to be honest with you, that threw the message out there that, look, man, look, enjoy it, but get over it quickly, right? And so he's played enough football and been in enough games where he knows that, look, it's no different than what I told our group. Yeah, I mean, everybody's praising you now. And go out and play bad and see how those people talk. You know, so you got to be somewhere in the middle in this deal. We live in 7-day increments in college football. And so those 7 days went well, you know, and so if you want the next 7 days to go well at the end, then prepare the same way. And so you really got to have short-term memory and just move on, good, bad, or indifferent.
Obviously, you know, Mark Fletcher worked through a couple injuries in the offseason. To see him come back, not really run with any trepidation, you know, fight through a pile to get a touchdown and stuff. Just how did you see him progress through that rehab and recovery? And, you know, I know he's at 100% now, you know, how important is utilizing the running game?
Yeah, I mean, the dude's a stud, right? And so, and even more so, you know, even when he wasn't practicing, his leadership is unbelievable. He's just a great kid. And so you sit here and a kid gets injured, you know, and he has surgery and they give you a timeline, right? Well, he blew that timeline out the water because of how he's wired, his DNA, right? And so it's a testament to him, really, of how quick he came back. And I don't think anybody would have thought that he would have been ready for that game months ago. But, I mean, he lived down there in the training room and he did everything over and above to get back. And look, some people try to hide in that training room. He's trying to. That's awesome for that kid.
Shannon, when Cam goes in the transfer portal, he's coming off of like a 500 team. The NFL is kind of shrugging their shoulders. I'm sure you watched a ton of film. The vision of what he could be with a better cast, a better plan, come to you right away?
You know, I don't know about right away, but I did have a feeling of how he was wired, what he was made up of, you know, and I do know because, you know, I played quarterback, although it's hard to believe, but quarterback's a very dependent position. You know, you got to have certain things in place, and you got to have people no different than he was asking me about up front. Like, good luck playing at a high level without the 5 guys up front doing their job, right? Good luck doing your job without a guy like Restrepo working his ass off, getting open, right, and all the other receivers. And so there was an element of me understanding that, yeah, you know, I think that Cam had the mindset and talent of what I was looking for within our system, but I also knew that we were going to surround him with really good players. And so my goal to him was just to realize that, look, man, I'm not asking you to come in here and be Superman. I'm asking you to come in here and be a part of this deal. Be a big part of it, but be a part of it. And so, and that was the same thing going into the game. I told him, I said, look, trust your teammates. Just trust your teammates. You know, we got good players out there around you. Check the ball down when the ball gets checked down, and he did. We threw it to the running back in the flats a lot. I said, you trust your teammates and take care of the football and play smart football. I said, we'll win the game, and we'll win it by a few. And so, and he does. I mean, he understands that he's surrounded by talented dudes, and he's going to trust them.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach Dawson.
And by the way, you know, how many Canes fans were there was amazing, right? You look up in the crowd and everybody talked about how many tickets we got. I don't know how many were there, but I appreciate those guys. Appreciate that.
Coordinator Lance Guidry, we'll go straight to the questions for Coach Guidry.
Coach Guidry, headed into the season, some people, myself not included, had questions about the secondary. Just how do you think they performed Saturday, and just what are your biggest takeaways from that group?
I thought they were really focused. They knew the types of things they had to defend. We thought going in that we was really worried about a lot of the crossing routes, the deep overs. That was his favorite throw, so we spent a lot of time for about 3 weeks working on that. The free safety coming out of the post and really jumping the crosser and the corner climbing, and it probably happened twice in the game. Mish picked one of them right by the goal line, and the other time we got a sack. So thought they played well. OJ competed really hard, you know. I was laughing. OJ on that first motion that went across the field, they completed a bootleg, and he knew what he had to do, but he said his legs wouldn't move. So we kind of laughed, but we kind of settled him down. But I thought Porter played well. Everybody on the back end, they challenged us early. Brown broke up a ball deep, and then Richard broke one up deep, and I think it kind of broke their confidence of going downfield a lot, and started trying to run the ball and do other things, kind of played into our hands.
Coach, you talked a lot throughout fall camp about the depth of the defensive line. Once Ruben goes down after that first drive, just what did they show you throughout the game about just what you guys have even when he's not there?
Yeah, we just kept rolling different guys in there. We played different guys at tackle position. Of course, we was able to play 5 defensive ends, which was good, and we rolled Mesidor inside as well. So we stayed fresh, and I thought it helped us in the second half, you know. So I do think that's the strength of our defense, and if we can continue to play a lot of people, I think we'll be able to play a little bit more as we go, get more guys experience. So that'd be good because it really helps on the back end with us being a little slight with numbers.
Lance, with Powell's first game in your defense, had a pick, played really well, graded out really well. Just what did you expect from him coming into the game, and how nice when he lived up to those expectations?
Yeah, he's got a demeanor a lot like Cam had. You know, he kind of calms the storm back there. He's vocal. He knows a lot of football. Of course, it's the first year in this scheme, but so it was Cam's, you know, and just a guy back there that's played a lot of football, played in a lot of big games. So this one wasn't as big as some of the games he's been in, of course. So, yeah, he's helping lead that secondary, and just a solid performance by him. And wish he could have got in the end zone on the interception, but really solid play by him.
And then with Jaden, you mentioned, he had to get a pick early. He got one in kind of a weird way, but he got one. What do you think of him in his first game, in a first big game as a starter?
Yeah, he played really, really fast. He played the way we thought he could with his skill sets, but he's a confidence guy, and he had a lot of confidence going into the game. He got a partial sack, I guess I call it. But he missed the interception. He could end up with 2, but just played really fast back there. Even on that long run, that wasn't really his fault. It was a busted blitz by a linebacker, and he couldn't make him right. He was supposed to cover the tight end, so everybody thinks it was his fault, but it really wasn't. It was a structure of a blitz pattern that didn't get done. So he graded out high as well.
Coach, what was your reaction to that 71-yard run, knowing that it was a big play earlier, but then as the game went on, you didn't allow another touchdown toward the latter part of it? So was there something that you said, like get over it, and then later on toward the end, boom?
Yeah, they didn't really earn it. We gave it to them because we didn't run a defense right. We were supposed to be blitzing off the edge of that tight end, and we didn't get it done. So we didn't have the edge to the defense. So the kids really wasn't that shook up because they felt like they didn't earn it. We gave it to them. So kind of settled them down at halftime. And at halftime, always coming out, our goal is to get a third quarter shutout. We feel like if we get a third quarter shutout, if we're out of the game, we can get back in. Or if we're ahead of a game, we feel like we'll increase the lead, and that's exactly what happened. So we came out of the locker room, had third quarter shutout, and kind of set the tone for the rest of the way.
Even the field, you yelled something about no one had to slay a gator or something.
That wasn't even me. That was an imposter.
Flashback to the childhood days.
I never killed a gator in my life. I watch a lot of smart people just like y'all.
On a more serious note, so Pro Football Focus, I don't know how much gospel you put in what they do in their grades or whatever, but they were pretty harsh on the DBs in their grading system and stuff. Did you see a lot of that, of room for improvement in terms of coverage?
They have no idea what we're doing on defense.
Right.
None. So what they say, they might have gave Jaden a minus on that long run, which it wasn't even. He was covering a guy man-to-man. We should have blitzed off the outside. So they don't know what the scheme is. They're just trying to guess if they played it right.
So like you were pretty happy with?
Oh, I thought we played exceptional. I mean, how many yards they had passing the football? 100 and what? Low hundreds. If you keep somebody to low hundreds, I mean, in the modern day football, they had 263 total offense and 70-something came off of one play. I think we played pretty good. If there's room for improvement, sure, we're going to have to improve throughout the year, but I was really happy with the first game.
How much does the defense feed off when an offense, your own offense, is performing to that level?
Well, I think they don't panic because they know what our offense can do. They know who's behind that center. And it also takes a lot off of my plate. Sometimes when you play across from offense that, that is sputtering a little bit. You feel like you can't make a mistake on defense. We don't feel like that. Not to say that we don't want to be perfect, but we got a lot of faith in our offensive personnel and our play caller. We got good backs, we got good offensive line, we got good wideouts, tight ends, quarterback's exceptional, and Coach Dawson's called a lot of football games. So we feel really good on defense that we have a good offense on the other side from us.
You guys have looked at a lot of film from about 100 practices probably so far this year, but how valuable is the film from week 1 to week 2 when it's the first time that you're going against somebody that doesn't know what you're doing? Like and you don't know really what they're doing either. I mean, how valuable is the film from the first game of any season?
It's give and take because you really don't know what the other side's thinking. A lot of people try to copy what other people do. A lot of guys change up and they hold things back for certain offenses, certain defenses. So you really don't know from week to week. The worst thing you can do is have a lot of film on somebody, and you practice on everything and you don't get good at anything. So last week, going against Florida, of course, we took like their 5 to top 7 plays that showed up in every game. A reverse, the crossing routes, a tailback screen, and just certain things. I'll be danged within the first 10 plays, probably 4 or 5 of them showed up. So, yeah, they showed up. So that was good. But it's hard sometimes. You just got to try to train you guys to play with clean eyes. And I thought we did probably the best defensively is we played situational football good. We were really good on third down, and when we got in certain areas of the field, we kind of sniffed out a lot of stuff that they were doing, a lot of trick stuff. So I thought that was good. I thought we played clean football.
Lance, you guys had only 5 missed tackles on Saturday against pretty talented teams, good skill players. How have you seen the tackling improve on this team since you got here last year?
Well, each year's a new year. We got new guys trying to make tackles in space. I thought we played extremely hard. Even when somebody missed a guy, it seemed like there was 2, 3 more there. But I think it's the way you practice. I think it's how fast you go at practice and how quick you rep plays and get a lot in, because you cannot practice live tackling unless you live tackle. And we only tackled against our offense 2 scrimmages. The first one, we were god-awful. The second one, we were okay. We tackled our best in the game the other day, and we hadn't tackled probably 2 weeks out. But our scout team gave us a really good look, and we just ran a bunch of plays as fast as we could, and our kids played with a lot of confidence, I thought. I didn't make a lot of calls on defense, so it wasn't like an extreme big game plan so that they could just play fast and free. And we just kind of tried to recognize plays that they were running that we'd seen before.
And since, like you said, you only get to practice it a couple times, and the first time it wasn't great, like, as a DC, you're just like, okay, like, we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, we got a chance to get better. It wasn't perfect by any means, but game 2, you just want to get better than you were before. The opponent doesn't matter. I'm an FCS guy, and I've been on the other side of the coin to where I've gone into venues that were a lot bigger, and our kids played their butts off, and we've beaten some big teams before when I was at FCS. So being at a Power 5 school now, to me, it's just all the same. Everybody, you got 11 players on the field. They got 11 players, and you're going to need to go out and try and play the best that you can and just get better every week,
Surprised that the Gators and the Canes have only played 4 times in the last 20 years. And can you imagine whether Florida will want to play Miami anytime soon after what took place on Saturday?
I'm sure they'd want to play us next year. Everybody wants to play somebody that's beat them. So you want revenge. But I really didn't know how many times they had played. I thought they'd played a lot more times than that. But I'll take this one, and we'll just wait till the next one.
Coming in this weekend, what are your thoughts on that offense, dynamic quarterback, and how was the communication system? I know that was kind of a big topic with you and the linebackers.
It kind of went out a little bit at times. D-Nick couldn't talk to linebackers, and we had to signal it in. So I call it through the headset, and a lot of times Coach Nickerson, he's the one talking to the linebackers, give them a call, just some reminders. But there was times in the game, probably about 15 to 20% of the time they couldn't hear. For whatever reason, so we had to signal it in. But for the most part, it's a lot better than signaling the whole thing. But I thought it was pretty clean on our end. It's a lot worse at practice. It's a lot louder at practice, what we did at, in the indoor facility. So for the most part, I thought it was good.
And thoughts on FAMU, Richardson coming in, dynamic quarterback, that offense you're going up against?
It's a lot of the plays they run this week are like the ones last week, just looking at them. You know, he's a competitive son of a gun. You know, he makes their offense go. They got good tight ends, and they got a couple wide receivers that they're going to cause a little bit of problems. So we're going to have to do what we did last week and try to beat them at the line of scrimmage, and then just play with great eyes, because I'm sure they'll have a lot of different things, different tricks they'll try to do on us.
You lost Bain and Damari early in that game. What did you learn about your depth and your defense after that?
You know, it's always been a mentality everywhere I've kind of been, is just, you know, the 11 guys out there playing as one. So try to mix as many people up at practice as you can, playing with each other. So, you know, as a coach, you hate to lose your good ones like that in a game, but the next guy got up there and played, and you just kind of get over it. You know, it's kind of like being a high school football coach and all those seniors walk out the door and you're left with your juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. They got to step up, and you don't know how you're going to do it, but somehow, some way, somebody steps up. That's how it kind of happened the other day. You know we had a lot of depth at defensive line, but in the secondary it was kind of scary when Brown went down, because then you say, okay, well, what if Porter goes down? Who's going to play nickel? He's running out of corners, so it's just that whole deal. But I thought they was up for the challenge, and I was proud of them.
Mezado's first game back since he got hurt last year. How do you feel like he performed?
He played hard. He played good. I'm sure he thinks he could play better, but I mean, it's been a long time since he played football. He played some inside, played some outside, but I think you'll see him get better through the next probably 2-3 games, to where he'll be back in stride. You know, he looked a little tired at their times, but he's been limited at practice. He hasn't practiced whole practices, so he's really not in total game shape yet.
What were your thoughts on Tyler Bear in his first game in your defense, and first game with UM?
He made a bunch of good plays. Made a good play on the quarterback. Of course, when he tried to pull it, he hit the quarterback like 3 times. You know, had a big hit on the interception that Mish got. So, real instinctive player, but probably the most impressive play was him trying to run down the running back. You know, he was chasing him, he couldn't catch him, but he made a swipe at him, and that's what winning football is about. Because if he makes that stop right there, we hold him to a field goal. You never know how that goes. So I was really proud of how hard he played, and he's going to have a good year.
Talk to us about Chase Smith.
Chase is getting a lot better, man. Chase has played some good, meaningful snaps. He's going to get better through the course of the year. It seems like he's getting further and further away from that knee injury, it looks like, you know. So playing with a lot of confidence, happy for him. He's had a long road, and, you know, it's time for that pays off.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Dawson.
Thank you.
You're the best, brother.